Hello, my name is Lynnae, and welcome to the Lynnae Effect podcast. Today I'm doing an episode basically letting you guys know about who I am and more of a background around me and who is the creator of the Lynnae Effect. So, yeah. The beginning process of me starting the Lynnae Effect, I had no idea what I wanted it to be about with the podcast. I actually kind of went in it, and I still do to this day with even this episode. I go into it kind of winging it and just coming up with it off the front of my mind. But when I first had the idea to come up with a podcast, I got on a podcast and I realized I have a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to experiences in life and just life lessons, crazy stuff that I've ever experienced, and also how it shaped me and then healing from it. I have a lot of different stories of just hardships and being able to come out of that. And people always, when I tell them about my stories, they're like, oh, you should write a book or something. And I'm too lazy to write a book. I'm too it's just a lot of work and stuff to do a whole book. So then one day I was watching an Ice Spice video, and she was talking about how they asked her what's the most relevant thing that she felt like would always stay relevant in our lifetime, and she had mentioned podcasts. And I'm like, oh wow. After I got on my first podcast, I realized I'm good at it. I was good at asking the questions. And then to take it even deeper, how I said I didn't know what I was gonna start this podcast doing or what it would be about. I honestly was gonna get on here talking about bullshit. Which I still might, who knows, because I believe in authenticity, and Dallas sometimes talks about bullshit. But my first episode, I really liked how awakening it was and enlightening, not just on my guests that came. It was Snoop and Shaq, but they got to see who their spirit was while also opening up different consciousnesses in our talks, and we spoke about godly things, and it's just I've always resonated with those kind of conversations. So then I'm like, okay, why not take my podcast there? Because I've always had this thing. I've had celebrities come to me wanting guidance, and little old Dallas is still guiding herself in certain situations, but they still came to me, and not just celebrities, random people on the sidewalk. I've had this my boyfriend actually references it as how bugs will fly to a light, and I feel that genuinely, not just because of the fact that not calling anybody bugs, but I'm able to help guide people in situations where they might not be might not be able to guide themselves and stuff. So I'm like, hey, this is what the podcast should be about. And then it tied in with the name, because the Lynnae Effect. So my logo has a butterfly on it. It's called the Lynnae Effect. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the butterfly effect, but it's basically in my metaphoric speaking, it's showing people okay, butterflies come from caterpillars and then they evolve into a butterfly. This podcast will be basically showing how not just myself, but my guests who come on, how they've evolved in life, and consciously, physically, everything, mentally, all that stuff, and just trying to see if maybe we can even open up their minds a little bit more, or maybe I can learn something, because I love to learn. Nobody is ever done learning in life, so I'm at the top of that list. So yeah, that's what the podcast is going to be about, evolutionary things. Yeah. Success. Ooh, spiritual success, physical, or success period? Spiritual success. Ugh, always. The way I define it, I feel is reaching what your life's highest potential will be. So not even just physically. I'm not talking about money, cars, all that stuff, which I think that does play a factor in your success, because I think you should always, not just materialistically, but always have your own when it comes to your stable life, your root life. Spiritually though, like I said, reaching your highest self, being one with God, and actually really being in tune with that. Having love, having life, having family in your life, I think is a very successful thing, and a healthy family, not just a toxic, crazy ass shit, whatever. But yeah, that's success to me in life. So I feel I have many purposes in life, but the main factor of all of them, and I say this with my heart, like my purpose, my work here is to help people bring themselves consciously out of the hell that this life can bring. 'Cause I don't believe in when you die you go to hell and heaven and all that stuff. I genuinely believe that this life that we live on can either be heaven or hell. And I've met so many people during my path and in life. I've only been here for 25 years in this lifetime, but I've met a lot of people that are in hell and in a conscious state of hell, and I think that I can't save anybody, but I can always give somebody a breadcrumb into how they can save themselves. I used to always hear, I had a friend one time, she was like, you can always bring a horse to the water to drink it, but they can never, or like, you can't force them to drink it, whatever the saying is. Now, I had counter-argued that, because I do that all the time. I like to make people question their minds and other people's sayings, because that came from somebody else. But no, I cannot make the horse drink it, but I can go drink the water and show the horse, oh, hey, this tastes great and it's making me live. And maybe, and when I say this, just maybe I might be able to influence that horse to also drink the water. If I don't, fuck it. That's how I live life, literally. It's if I can see if I can help somebody when it comes to spiritually, physically, mentally, all that stuff, like that's what I'm here for. I feel like a lot of people are here for that too, is just to be a helping hand, show love, be supportive, like remind people what their magic and what their light is. If they take it, dope. If they don't, it's not going to hurt me in no type of way, because I don't attach myself to the failures in life. But yeah. So that's one of my many purposes, along with other stuff, but we'll just start with that one. My connection to the meaning of life. My connection with the understanding of our Creator, the beloved, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever you want to refer it to as, that keeps my life sacred. It's so much blissfulness and magic behind that feeling when you are in tune with that connection, the Creator, our higher power in life, whatever you want to call it. Embodying what that means keeps my life very sacred. And that's basically how I experience it, for sure. Nature, being out in nature, enjoying the gifts that the beloved has given us keeps me sacred. Yeah. Yes. My beliefs are always evolving. There's so many different causations to it, too. When I was younger, actually, I used to struggle with, so I grew up with a family of Jehovah's Witnesses. And for those who don't know what that is, they're basically a Christian-based religion. They solely focus, though, on Jehovah. They understand the prophets of, like, said Jesus, everyone that was basically in the Bible. However, they don't look at him as their savior. They look at Jehovah as their savior. Now, with Jehovah's Witnesses, they do studying. I'm talking about they will study word for word the Bible. And it led me to question, as I'm reading it, I'm a very questionable person. I want to know the logic behind everything, and I have to understand it fully. Otherwise, I feel like I won't really retain the information. And as I got older, I always grew up on the beliefs and, everything that they spoke on. But when I actually studied it and I word for word read every single sentence, it was certain stuff that it makes sense to me completely. And I think it was more on a metaphoric term than it was like you have to like abide by this and only this, and just how most like Christian-based beliefs are. But then it opened up my eyes to understanding, okay, so what are different religions like? What is Muslim like? What is Buddhism like? What is Hinduism like? Every single religion that I felt was almost out there, I had to do some type of digging on what was it like, because certain stuff about Jehovah's Witnesses, it made me question. And I feel like if I have to question anything, it means I have to search more within myself, within that thing, whatever. And when I did my diggings on different like religions, even Hudan and root work and all that stuff, like I wanted to know Native American beliefs. We spoke about that. Shout out to my next episode. Stay tuned. But even Native American beliefs, all of that, I wanted to understand like what was the basis behind everything, because every religion you kind of look into, it has something that makes you question it. Like, okay, well, why? Why this? Why that? And once I got to the root of it and I realized, like, okay, everything always talks about, not even just religion, people, period. Like, everybody talks about do good in life. Talk to your, not even just do good in life, but speak to yourself with life. Speak to yourself with success. You are powerful more than most of us can comprehend. Our brains are beautiful I call them organisms because they're its own thing. But that basically I just lost my train of thought. What the oh, what shaped my beliefs? That's what it was. What shaped my beliefs? Open-mindedness. Okay, we're just gonna throw that in there. But anyway, sorry, I had to finish that or my brain was gonna get mad because why did you not finish your sentence? Okay, next question though. What was it? What moments? Sitting in silence and listening to my higher conscious speak to me. That's the best. Yeah, that's the best moment I can get. Sitting in silence, for sure. That's when I get my most loudest guidance and stuff. Anytime I'm actually interacting with humans, I'm very introverted. I'm so introverted. It's not even funny sometimes. But when I actually get to speaking to just even random people or going on walks and just seeing other human beings like next to me, it definitely helps me feel more connected with humans. When I put out my work, any of my artistic like creativity, and people resonate with it or they give me their input of, oh, this, that, the third, that also helps me kind of connect with humanity because it like lets me know, okay, what do they think? What's their opinions? I read a book by Don Miguel Ruiz, and he spoke about how everybody lives their own, he called it a dream world. And me hearing other people's quote unquote dream world kind of like reminds me, okay, that like other people think differently. This is how they might process something, and it just reminds me basically of other humans. So yeah. Yes. Always. Energy it sows. I feel like they speak first before words do sometimes. I feel like a lot of times you can go into a room and not even know somebody or know nothing about them, honestly, and you can almost hear their, I won't say hear their thoughts, but yeah, basically I personally can. No, I can feel their energy first before anything. Man, I've been doing it since birth. That since I can remember, since a child, I've been very tuned with like energy, with how I said Einstein said one time, energy speaks first. And energy is everything. He emphasized that energy is everything. It's something about, and I think this plays a factor with my last episode, how I spoke about growing up. I have vitiligo on my forehead. It's on your pineal gland. I always symbolize that as being kind of open with my third eye. That's where your third eye would be. Your third eye resonates with like the spiritual realm. And so that's kind of something that I've always been easily able to pick up on, like when it comes to people, even places. I can go into like an old building and know like who was there, if that makes sense, like past spirits and stuff, like because we live on a, I don't know if, look, I'm about to get into some deep shit. There is no past, present, or future. Everything lives on the same timeline. With that being said, say where I'm standing right now, another person stood like 20 years ago. It's almost like my spirit can still feel their spirit within the same area, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. That's the best answer I can give of where it came from. When I knew it was true, okay, so I always knew I could do it. When I knew that it was real was when I would have moments where like I would think something, about a person. Say I get into a room or whatever, and I'm like, they're feeling like this and that, the third, whatever. And then, like, something would come up to where I would end up speaking to them more about it. And I would kind of, like, nitpick and try to get them to, like, tell me more about themselves. And they would end up telling me what I was thinking was like, what was happening. And I'm just like, like, it was kind of I don't look at anything as a coincidence. Nothing in life is a coincidence. Even if you meet a certain random person, that person, everybody has a thread connected to them in life. So nobody meets anybody by mistake. Everything happens for its reasonings. So in moments of that, like how my example of them saying exactly that I was right on what they were thinking, I don't believe in coincidences. So it was just me able to pick up on their energy. Now, I had made a TikTok. Follow me on TikTok at Dallas Lynnae. Also, shout out. But I made a TikTok a few years ago. Just came to me. Again, I have these, like, I call them higher conscious voices that will speak to me and just kind of remind me of ancient knowledge is what I call it. It'd be like old wisdom from, it might be my past ancestors, some wherever, whoever the case may be, God. But I was told one time I was sitting under a tree in the middle of the woods by myself. It was so silent. And I had this thought, and I was like, the words just flew out of me too. So everything kind of works the same as, like, technology works the same as nature. Everything plays the same factor. It's all the same. Everything's the same. It just has different wires to it, is what you would call it. Our brains are just like a stereo. I said in the video that if you want to listen to somebody's conscience, or if you want to tap into somebody's energy field, all you have to do is just tune it like how you would tune a stereo. I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but that's kind of what I do with people. I get around them, I see what type of frequency they're on, I tune into it, and then it just instantly, like, shoo, and then I'm in there. Yeah, all of the above. God is everything. I feel like God is everything. The good, the bad. I don't even. Sometimes I believe in how people say the God, our beloved, our creator, and what is it? I don't know how people would reference, like, Satan, the devil. I almost feel as though they are somewhat the same being. It's just, it shows you duality. So with that being said, I see God through everything. It could be hardship. It could be love with another person, a connection with a person. It could be a flower. It could be everything that my eyes can see in front of me, and even not just my eyes, anything I can feel behind that, I feel like is God. And I feel him always. So I don't mean to say him. I don't think he's a gender, but, you know, yeah, you get it. The closest, okay, 2 times. The closest I've ever felt to God, my first experience was through a very hard time in my life. It was very scary. It was very dark. I actually used to live at this house in Lansing, and it had so much demonic energy inside of it. And I would be there majority of the time by myself. Keep in mind, that's a very scary thing to be around by yourself. It's just like a malevolent spirit is almost what it felt like. Come to find out, the house that I was living in too, a person had killed themselves the year before I moved in. And just imagine, like, what somebody's going through, like, when they kill themselves. Like, it's dark. It's not fun. And then that house was very old. So just imagine if that was just 1 year of somebody living there and they killed themselves. Imagine how many people died in the house. So with that being said, it was very scary. And with me being there by myself, I somehow, some way, I know God was sitting there seeing what I was going through and seeing how scary it could get. And I started to hear his voice again. I don't mean to say he, it's not a gender. I started to hear that voice more clearer. It was almost as if it was screaming at me. Like, but that was the first time I witnessed God. And then the second time was actually, I was reminded. So when I got with my man, his name is Benjamin Hayes. I love him because he reminded me to start praying again. I forgot how to pray. Not I forgot how to pray, but I forgot to pray in moments where it's like you should be praying. Pray, bless your food. Not everybody has food. Bless your even pause moments where you're just not doing anything and you just should be thankful. Like, and when I pray, I ensure that I'm being thankful in everything that I'm saying. Just even thankful for my existence here, my children's existence, having the love that I'm able to experience through my man. I got to learn a different relationship with God because of that. It just reminded me, like, hey, speak to God. And I think that's beautiful. Half of our conversations are very in depth with remembering and reminding myself to have God on the front of my mind always. Actually, a third time, I'm going to throw this in here. So as a young child, I always wanted to know what the meaning of life was. I wanted somebody to give me one book. I used to always plead. I would say, give me a book that told me everything that I need to know, no matter how raw, no matter how scary it is. Just let me know so I could be aware of what I'm dealing with in this world. I remember, again, I was going through something very hard and it was probably one of the worst times of my life. And this random man came to me off of TikTok. And I refer to him as my mentor now, spiritually. He told me to get these books. One of them was called The Secret Science. The other one was called The 7 Hermetic Principles. Both of those books taught me not other people's opinion of God, but it got to show me how to walk myself into understanding what God is, what that energy is. Everybody, I feel like, in their lifetime should read both of those books. Again, it's called The Secret Science, and the other one is The 7 Hermetic Principles. And it just reminds you consciously, like, what God is, I feel like. But yeah, all of those. So safety means to me, like, this is deep too. I can, one, be myself, be my true self. That's like a moment where I feel safe, and not judged. But at the same time, I don't be giving a fuck when people judge me. But that's safety. Knowing that I'm protected, because while I am able to protect myself, because I am a strong, independent woman, I do like to know, like, anybody who is around me, specifically my man, knows how to protect me. He won't let nobody play with me. Not even the slightest bit. So I like that reminds me of safety. Being stable is very safe in my opinion. When it comes to my family life, I feel like any stability, even financially too, like, stability brings its safety, because it's just like, if you ever have a rainy day, you have a safe net already prepared, or you have a home to lay your head at if you need to, you have a car, you have this, that, third, like, all that's safety to me for sure. And peace. So yeah. Oh, poor baby is the first thing I would say. If I could speak to my hurt self, though, I would tell her, snap the fuck out of it. Get it the fuck together, D, because you know damn well you know better. You know better. Like, you know better. That's the best I can say. And then I would give her a hug, just because I know how hard I can be on myself. But sometimes I'm so hard on myself that I don't listen. You ever, like, seen how people will shut out somebody when they're, like, just talking too much shit? I do that to myself in my own head. And I would just let her, like, know, like, you're gonna be okay. It's not the end of the world. And you're gonna thrive, but you just have to love yourself. You have to really love yourself, and you keep being yourself unapologetically, and the people who are supposed to love you, they will come to you and gravitate to you once you do love yourself, period. Yeah, man, get it the fuck together. A story that I told myself that, you know, I've had a lot of, I won't say a lot of bad relationships, but I had a really bad relationship, and it got to the point where it was very toxic, it was abusive, it was terrible all around. But during that time, I would be delusional to myself, and I would tell myself, oh, well, you just gotta, you have to save people, you have to help people because you saved yourself. And I had to really quickly realize, like, that is not the case. I think the first time I knew the world wasn't safe, I had to have been like 9, around 9. that age, I had a lot of bad experiences. From 9 years old, I had a bad experience with one of my mother's boyfriends. And then after that too, just like watching how real life can get. Like I would watch my mom get beat on. I would watch friends like getting fucking arrested at young ass ages. Like it was so many different things that would show me like, okay, like this isn't just like sunshines and daisies, you know, like there's a dark part of the world. Yeah, for sure. I think I was like 9 around that time. And like, but on some like shit, because there was this girl, just a rundown. A girl DM'd me the other day, and she was like, I would be really inspired if you like talked about, cause she used to be a dancer, and like she called it like the 304 lifestyle. I said lifestyle. But like she was basically saying like, she wants to see people like more talk about like what it was like having to deal with like tricks and shit, and then like overcoming that lifestyle, because she follows me, so she sees that like I don't do that shit no more. So it's like she wants to like see, because she was basically saying like it would be inspiring to her to like get her to stop doing shit basically. So I told her, I'm like, that'd be dope. So if we can throw that in there, if you can remember it. If not, it's okay, and I'll just touch base on a different episode. But okay, I'm ready. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, my name is Lynnae, and welcome to the I can't even fucking say my shit. Welcome to the like, fuck this shit. Welcome, guys. Okay. Are you ready?